Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Ed Plog, and I'm president of Playbill Travel. We have a terrific presentation planned for you today. I am sure many of you who are anxious to begin traveling again are thinking, my first post-pandemic vacation will be in the US or Canada. If so, this presentation will be perfect for you. We've invited Tim Palmer from Mountaineer to talk about his company's luxury train rides in Western Canada and the US. Our team of travel advisors will be available during the presentation, so if you have any questions, please jot them in the comment box and we will get an answer for you. Let's get to the presentation. Let's welcome Tim Palmer from Mountaineer.
Thank you, Ed, and thank you to everyone at Playbill Travel. Again, my name is Tim Palmer. I represent Mountaineer. And why don't we get right to the show here tonight? Well, I hope I did that right. Again, folks, my name is Tim Palmer, proudly representing Mountaineer. Mountaineer is in its 30th year of travel. At least 2020 was our 30-year anniversary. We are founded by Peter Armstrong. Peter had a vision of connecting Vancouver to the Canadian Rockies via luxury train. The thing that separates Mountaineer from other train companies is that we don't overnight on our train. Peter's vision was a daylight travel experience. So that's what we have been doing for the past 30 years, connecting Vancouver, British Columbia to Jasper, Lake Louise, and Banff in Alberta. Peter also knew the importance of having a host on board. Our hosts are storytellers. They are giving you facts of the destination that we are passing by. We are also giving out complimentary alcoholic and non-alcoholic beverages on board. While on the train, there are zero out-of-pocket expenses other than perhaps having a souvenir. So if you are having a couple of alcoholic beverages, it's also important to make sure that you have fine cuisine as well. So we try to capture the essence of the area that we're traveling through with the cuisine choice as well. When traveling through Canada, naturally, there's some great salmon in the rivers that we're passing by. You might also have some Alberta grass-fed beef. So for the past 30 years, again, we have been connecting Vancouver, BC, out to the Canadian Rockies, the Icefields Parkway as it's known. You're looking at the map of our 3 routes here. So we have a 3-day route. That's our northern route, Rainforest to Gold Rush, with overnight stays in Whistler and Quesnel. And then we have 2 2-day routes. The blue route is called Journey Through the Clouds, and the maroon route is the First Passage to the West, again with an overnight in Kamloops. So on the map, the white dots represent the locations that we overnight in a hotel while traveling by train during the day. And the dark dots, the blue dots, are locations that we begin or end our train experience, or we extend the trip as well. Because not too many people are only going to come to British Columbia and Alberta for 2 or 3 days on the train. So we do create full packages utilizing the train experience as the base experience. When traveling in Canada, you have choice of class of service. We have Gold Leaf as well as Silverleaf. The Silverleaf is a custom designed single level coach. This is a 14.5-foot high train car. Being a single level train car, we do have our dining at our seats. But the focus of this is definitely looking outside and enjoying yourself. So the big glass dome windows here are a highlight for many to be able to see the beautiful vistas that we are passing by. But I do think that we get many accolades on the fine cuisine that we offer as well. So you will have a nice hot breakfast as well as a hot lunch. The lunch typically is a 3-course meal. And you can see these folks are enjoying their dessert. A lot of people talk about the differences between Gold Leaf and Silverleaf. The Gold Leaf, naturally being a bi-level, has an upstairs and downstairs, but what's similar between the two of them? You still get the same high-end spirits, beer and wine on board. The hosts on board are doing the same stories and facts as we pass by the different locations. And when you're looking out a window in Gold Leaf or Silverleaf, you are seeing the same scenery nonetheless. So let's go into what some of the differences may be that attract people to Gold Leaf class of service. The upstairs dome will be the location that you have your assigned seat for the 2 or 3 days that you're on the train. To get downstairs, there is a spiral staircase or a single-person elevator. So typically, mobility challenges are not an issue. When we do get downstairs, it's white linen tablecloth service. You're ordering off a menu now that is a little bit more robust than that of Silverleaf. You'll have 8 different items to choose from. Your food is being prepared right in the same train car that you're in. And then one of my favorite highlights is being able to go outside afterward and be able to breathe in that fresh air. That's one of the great things about the Gold Leaf class of service, the outdoor viewing platform. A lot of people ask, Tim, what do you do on the train for 10 hours each day? And that's just it. We're traveling about 300 miles at 30 miles an hour. So we are averaging around 10 hours each day on the train. So that means early mornings. The wheels on the train are typically rolling by 8 a.m. and we immediately start with our breakfast. The beautiful scenery definitely will be a highlight, and capturing some of those moments with a photographer, rather with a camera, maybe you are a photographer, are definitely some of the key components of the day. Listening to our host tell those great stories and then continuing on to your hotel before joining the trip the next day. So here's a great look at our Silverleaf class of service. Now, I really bragged about the outdoor viewing platform on Gold Leaf, but on Silverleaf, we also have a small outdoor viewing platform. The back door there is a farmer's door, and it's big enough for maybe 2 people to poke their head out, at least get a picture as you're coming around a bend. I mentioned the speed we travel, typically around 30 miles an hour. Well, we do want to make sure that you get an opportunity to take some of the pictures, such as Hell's Gate right here on the Fraser River. So we'll slow down to 3 or 4 miles an hour. We call that Kodak speed, so you can get a picture. But this picture also reminds me that we're traveling from the rainforest region of Vancouver and then entering into the semi-arid desert region in British Columbia. When you get into this region, you really do see a contrast. The wildlife will change. You'll see some bighorn sheep. Naturally, the landscape changes quite dramatically as well. And as we are coming around the bends into Kamloops, you have this beautiful lake on one side and these great cliffs on the other, where you see a lot of sheep and goats that are frolicking up on the hillside. From there, we continue on to the high Alpine of the Canadian Rockies. When we're starting to get into the high Alpine, we'll be crossing some wonderful trestles. Some might be a little bit high. If you're afraid of heights, I suggest looking forward, but otherwise it really is breathtaking. Also, a lot of waterfalls in the area. They may change a little bit seasonally. This one here is right at the beginning of fall, and you can still see that Pyramid Falls is really raging even as we get into the fall time period. And then hopefully you get a glimpse of Mount Robson. Mount Robson is the tallest peak in the Canadian Rockies and definitely a great sight on some of those clear days. Now, one of our best highlights is looking for wildlife. And whether you're sitting in the Gold Leaf dining room or at your seat in Silverleaf, be sure to listen to the host on board as we are communicating via walkie-talkie to the other train cars that are on the consist. And they're going to let us know if there's a moose on the left or a black bear on the right. Definitely a great opportunity to see wildlife as we're traversing, especially through that high Alpine up in the Canadian Rockies. But as I said, most people aren't going to come to British Columbia and Alberta just for 2 or 3 days. So we have put together full packages. You're looking at First Passage to the West at Leisure. The First Passage to the West at Leisure is a 2-day trip on the rail, accompanied by 5 days of sightseeing. So this is a great 8-day trip, 7 nights all in hotels. And again, when you get to the last location there, Lake Louise, Banff, we're now off of the train and would either be doing motor coach and or self-drive. Now, if you're a true train enthusiast, you may want to combine 2 of our routes together to do a circle journey. This would allow you to start and end in Vancouver. And in this situation, we're utilizing our 3-day route, Rainforest to Gold Rush, that's the green line up top, along with the first passage to the west, that's the maroon one. So you'll have 13 days in total, with 5 days on the train split up between the 2 routes, and a real leisure pace exploring the Icefields Parkway with 3 nights in Banff, 2 nights Lake Louise, and 2 nights in Jasper. This really captures everything that British Columbia and Alberta is well known for. As mentioned, we do have great partnerships with motor coach companies, so as you're off of the train, you can, by all means, take advantage of one of our many packages that would include a motor coach. Or if you want to go at your own pace, we do have self-drive exploration, where you could have a rental car, and we'll still plan the vacation with wonderful hotels and included sightseeing. Well, some of that sightseeing may be a ride up on Athabasca Glacier. The snow coach ride itself is worth the price of admission, but when you get off of this snow coach and you're standing on ice that's well over 1,000 feet thick, just be careful you don't step on the blue ice. It's a little slippery. Some of the other gems that you might see while you're exploring the Icefields Parkway would be Moraine Lake, Valley of the 10 Peaks, and of course, the wonderful wildlife. And a lot of people ask me, well, when's the best time of year to travel? I often say whenever you're available to do it. However, we operate April through October. The beginning part definitely brings out some moms and their cubs, perhaps, while the fall will bring the rut in of the moose and the elk. So definitely some different times of year to experience the beautiful wildlife in the Canadian Rockies. And we also have some wonderful partners. The Fairmont brand has been an excellent partner of Rocky Mountaineer for a number of years. You're looking at the Fairmont Banff Springs Hotel. Quite an iconic hotel nonetheless. This is a great 5-star. And then off in the distance, you also see the Rimrock Hotel. Both are slightly outside of town, but well worth the stay being 5-star. If you would rather be in the center of town, we also have some partners that are more of the 3- and 4-star category. So for the past 30 years, we have been blessed with sharing British Columbia and Alberta with well over 2 million travelers. And we've brought that 30 years of experience to the United States with our newest route, Rockies to the Red Rocks. We are launching Rockies to the Red Rocks this August 2021. The route itself is again a 2-day route connecting Denver and Moab with an overnight stay in Glenwood Springs. Similar to the experience we have in Canada, you'd be able to extend your trip with either a self-drive, again, a rental car between Moab, Salt Lake City, or Moab and Vegas, or we can also put together a package where you would be on a motor coach doing some exploration with a guide. Once you get out to the beautiful landscape of Utah, you'll understand why they call it the Red Rocks. At sunset, at sunrise, you definitely see the beautiful red hue come off of these rocks. But that's just a little bit of the element that you'll see while traveling with Rocky Mountaineer. So our trips do go east to west or west to east. So you can start in Denver and end in Vegas. You can start in Vegas and end in Denver. Or again, you can just do the train with us. So in this situation, I'm going to start in Moab and go to Glenwood Springs on my first day. You can see many of the locations that we're going to view as we're passing by. We don't stop at these locations while on the train, though. It really is just a nice leisure pace. So make sure you have a glass of wine in one hand and perhaps a camera in the other. So on this first day between Moab and Glenwood Springs, it is a 5-hour day on the train. Rock formations are going to be some of the highlights that you'll see from the Book Cliffs or the LaSalle Mountains out to Mount Garfield and some of the other great views that you'll get along the way between Moab and Glenwood Springs. Glenwood Springs is a beautiful spot, and I'll touch on that momentarily, but right now just want to share what day 2 would be as well while traveling on the train. This now, of course, is boarding in Glenwood Springs and ending in Denver. You had an overnight stay at your hotel. And rather than rocks today, we're talking about canyons. You can see a lot of different canyons en route and be able to go through the Moffett Tunnel. And I'll talk about the Moffett Tunnel in just one sec as well. So again, some of the beautiful sites we have, such as Red Canyon, which has been dug out by one of the tributaries of the Colorado River. We will be following the Colorado River for much of our trip here. Some of the canyons are a little bit more spectacular than others, but nonetheless, it is great to see that. So here we have the Glenwood Canyon. And of course, we'll also be able to pass by the beautiful reservoir here. Now, as we're traveling by train today, we are going to be between an elevation of 4,000 and 9,000 feet. However, since we're not getting off the train or doing too much aerobics, we don't feel that the elevation will affect you that much. Now, as I mentioned, in the Canadian Rockies, we have two classes of service, the Goldleaf and Silverleaf. While in the U.S. route, we will be operating solely the Silverleaf category. And the reason behind that are some of the tunnels. I mentioned the Moffett Tunnel earlier. Unfortunately, our Goldleaf class of service does not fit in the tunnels here in Colorado. So we will be again utilizing our Silverleaf class of service, and that should not disappoint anyone. This is an outstanding class of service. It exceeds expectations pretty much every single time. So you can see again the interior of the Silverleaf. There are some nice bells and whistles at your seat. You have a great footrest. The seat does recline. You have electric at your seat. But the focus again is the outside and viewing through those beautiful glass dome windows. We will be serving meals while on board. We have different timings that the train's on, so it might be a breakfast, a dinner, or lunch, but nonetheless, you'll have a great option to choose while traveling en route. Now, we will have an upgradable service as well. What this would entitle is still the Silverleaf train car. However, we'll have a lounge car attached. So the 50 people that are in your train car would have access to that lounge car. That is exclusive to the 50 people, again, that are in your train car. This would not be something anyone else in any other train car would be able to utilize. You'll have access throughout the day, and there will also be a bartender on board inside the Silverleaf Plus lounge. There will also be some enhanced meal service in Silverleaf Plus. So nice upgrade, good opportunity. This is definitely a sought after part that we can upgrade you to. So if this is something you're interested in, I would suggest booking sooner than later for 2021, as inventory is already starting to be at a premium. So where are we traveling? I have mentioned Moab, Glenwood Springs, and Denver. I would imagine that we're pretty familiar with these destinations. Moab is the gateway to Arches National Park and Canyonlands National Park. It's got a great artisan vibe in the downtown area. And to remind you that we are staying in hotels when off of the train. So I'll share a little bit about our hotels as I talk about the different destinations. In Moab, you have the Hyatt Place, which is shown on the screen right now. We will be utilizing 3 different properties. As I mentioned, the Hyatt Place is one, then there's 2 by Hilton, the Hoodoo Moab, and the Hilton Homewood Suites. They are all very well appointed inside. We're not going to jeopardize the integrity of Rocky Mountaineer by partnering with an inferior property. So feel that these 4-star properties in the Moab area are a great way to enjoy the Rocky Mountaineer experience. Glenwood Springs, this has been a resort town for the past 130 years. My goodness, it started in the late 1800s. And it was really put on the map because of the hot springs in this region. Now, when we go to Glenwood Springs, we are using some of their iconic hotels as well. The Glenwood Hot Springs Resort, the Hotel Colorado, and the Hotel Denver. Due to logistics, you do not choose your hotel in Glenwood. We will be assigning hotels based on people traveling within the same train car, but all of these hotels are within a short 4 or 5 minute walk of each other. Everyone has access to the hot springs in the region as well. You can see that just out front, the Glenwood Hot Springs Resort. And although these hotels are iconic in the region, have some great history, they have been through renovations and are all very well appointed as well. And Denver, Colorado, Mile High City, it gets its name solely because of its elevation. I hope that you realize that in advance. If not, I gave you a new fact. Denver's a real city. Wonderful museums. You see the Denver Art Museum there. Wonderful pedestrian areas as well. You have Larimer Square, and it's known as the Napa Valley of the craft beer movement. If you want to get a flight or perhaps a pint, you're more than available to find several breweries throughout Denver, Colorado. The properties we're using here are in great proximity to the train station. The Crawford Hotel is right inside Union Station. The Oxford Hotel, well, you can see that it's just across the path of the Union Station. And the Maven Hotel is within a 2-block walk, just about 4 minutes from the station as well. And the reason I mention proximity is in this area, we're not going to be doing a transfer from your hotel to the train station because they are so close. So if you do have any mobility challenges, perhaps the Maven Hotel wouldn't be the right choice for you. And in this situation, you do have choice. Now, again, we're dealing with some iconic properties that have also seen some renovations throughout the years and are definitely going to live up to the comfort level we expect here at Rocky Mountaineer. So how are we doing our packages? You can simply do the train with us with a pre-night in Denver and a post-night in Moab. Do the 2 days on the train. That would ultimately become a 3-night, 4-day trip. People that are looking for this may already have plans of their own in the Colorado or Utah area, and they're adding us on as an extension to their already planned vacation. But if you'd like to be able to see beautiful Arches National Park, Canyonlands National Park, Utah is well known for these great destinations. They also have Bryce National Park. The hoodoos, the rock formations inside of Bryce are awe-inspiring. And then, of course, we have Zion National Park as well. And outside some of the national parks, we have a beautiful trip to Lake Powell. Now, if you do want to see those, you're going to have to extend your trip with us. So we'll have opportunities to extend via a self-drive, again, a rental car. That would be available between Salt Lake City and Moab, as well as Las Vegas and Moab. What we're seeing most people do, though, is joining us on one of our motor coach adventures, either before or after the train experience. So again, you could start in Vegas for a night, head out to Bryce, where you'll be able to see Bryce and Zion, and then continue on to Moab, where we have Arches and Canyonlands. And as I mentioned, we do have another package that would also include Lake Powell. So some great opportunities to see the beauty that Utah has to offer, as well as experiencing what has made Rocky Mountaineer really a fan favorite for the past 30 years. Now, the onboard experience that we have has always been the number one priority. However, as we move into 2021, health and safety is definitely top of our list. We're still committed to delivering that world-class service. But what we did is we looked around at the different areas where our staff and guests are interacting with one another, as well as where our guests and guests are interacting. And we wanted to see what health and safety protocols we could enhance. So everything from the check-in to our team we looked at, and then transfers and boarding. And one thing that you see here is traveling with the same group. We want to make sure that people are doing just that, staying within a core cohort of travel. So rather than commingling with all 300 people on the train, you would just be staying within the group that's in your train car. And that coincides with seamless boarding. Whoever is in your train car would be the same people that you would be on a motor coach with when transporting between the train station in Moab and your hotel. We even went further than that. We looked at the on-the-train experience. Cleaning has always been a top priority. Thorough sanitization should not be a new way to look at it. However, we're doing it differently. We used to have a cleaning crew that would come through the entire train car. we're not going to have a cleaning crew go through the entire consist because that would be commingling. So we have hired a cleaning crew for each train car in 2021. There will be continuous cleaning and touching of high touch points. What about the air filtration system? This is where we somewhat got lucky. We already had state-of-the-art HVAC system that is not recycling air, but rather bringing in fresh air at all times. Naturally, we're also looking at our partners in hotels and destination to live up to the same integrity and expectations that we have around health and safety protocols. Now, terms and conditions don't typically go with flexibility, but we have enhanced the flexibility of our terms and conditions. One thing that we've done is we're allowing people to get a refund from their deposit 60 days after payment. We want you to feel comfortable in assuring that your travel is going to be safe. So if you made your booking tonight, you would have until almost March 20th to be able to get a full refund on that deposit if you no longer feel comfortable about your travel plans. If it goes a little bit further than that and you still have to change your date, we're going to allow 2 free date changes. You see a name change there. And if you do have travel credit from 2020, you can also apply that for 2021 or 2022 travel. Now, as I mentioned, 2020 was our 30th anniversary, and we didn't have the fanfare that we had hoped. So 31 is the new 30, and we're coming out with a great anniversary promotion. This is for the Canadian Rockies travel. This is not applicable to our new route in the US. But for those of you that are looking for a great vacation in Canada, this is valid through April 2nd, and it entitles you to 3 free perks. That is a free pre- or post-night hotel. It is a complimentary airport transfer, as well as a complimentary dinner in your hotel. And if you're utilizing the Chateau Lake Louise, the beautiful Fairmont property, that is one that I would highly suggest you secure your complimentary dinner at. Again, this offer expires April 2nd, 2021. Folks, I'd like to say thank you very much for your interest in Rocky Mountaineer. The good folks at Playbill Travel will be able to assist you with all of your travel needs. Really encourage you to reach out and contact them at your earliest convenience. Hopefully, Rocky Mountaineer is within your plans, but they can book the world for you. Very comparable and a great opportunity to see what next vacation you have in store. Thank you again, ladies and gentlemen. Have a great night.
Thank you, Tim. I know I'm ready to get back to the Rockies. I hope those of you watching found this information as enticing as I did. If so, there are plenty of vacation options available for you and good pricing too. Ask your travel advisor to get you some information. Finally, please keep in mind that Playbill Travel is a full-service travel agency. Our travel advisors can help you plan a wide variety of escorted and customized vacations. Also, we are a subsidiary of Playbill, the theater magazine, and because of our strong affiliation with Broadway, we offer a series of Broadway cruises featuring performances each night by top Broadway stars. Ask your travel advisor for more information. I hope you enjoyed our presentation, and please follow us for more information on future presentations, the next one being in March. Thank you and goodbye.